It is an honor to introduce my guest, Naomi Gasson, yeah, from Roof Advisors in Marietta, Georgia. So, welcome to the show, Naomi.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. So, thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about your business and how you got started and what you do.
Sure. So, to start off, my husband and I bought the business in 2016. It has been going since 2009. And since we bought the business, we've made a lot of changes. So, we were originally insurance specialists.
Ah,
We only did insurance, and now we've changed the business model a lot. So, we include repairs as well as maintenance and replacements. So, we've actually adapted our logo quite a lot, and it reads repair, replace, maintain. And that's talking about the longevity and the investment in a roof and how we can get a lot more from it.
I love that. It's kind of like your slogan.
Right?
Ah, so you acquired it in 2009, you said?
2016. So
2016.
my husband and I wanted to move to America,
Okay.
live that American dream. It's absolutely fantastic weather that you have here compared to England.
Okay.
And in order to do so, we had to get a visa. So we worked on an investment visa, so we had to buy a business. We chose roofing, very, very different in the UK. We put slate on the roofs. It lasts hundreds of years compared to here, which, we can actually we can replace a roof in one day.
Okay.
So very different business model. My husband's an accountant by trade, and I just finished my MBA. So being able to work in a small business and see all the moving parts has been really valuable.
That's awesome. Did you guys do roofing in the UK?
No, we both worked corporate, and it's been very different, very different experience, very different pace, and just seeing everything how it works together is really rewarding.
Yeah, and how did you choose roofing? Like out of everything out there?
Well, we looked at a laundromat and decided that didn't sound so exciting. We looked at gas stations and thought that might be a little dangerous, and then. We've noticed that in the US there's a lot of small restaurants, and we felt that moving here with a small child, she would be at school and then coming home, and we would be moving into our shift of work, so it wasn't so family friendly. And then the opportunity came up for a roofing business that came up for sale, and here we are. So my husband came out, had a look at the business before we bought it, and what's really interesting is that the first house he went to, we can see from our house right now. We can see from our bedroom window.
Oh
So
my gosh.
really serendipitous.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep.
And so you have that one main location in Marietta, Georgia?
Yeah, so we're located off Cornerstone just off Cornerstone Circle, right next to the square. So it's a great location for us, and we're originally from Marietta. That's where we used to be Marietta Roofing Advisors. So we've changed. The owner changed the name before we bought it, but that's always been the hub of the business. And my goal is to be 5 Mile famous. We
Yes.
want to be really close to home, servicing people in our backyard, being able to support that community and helping those people. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love that you touched that on 5 Mile Famous. As a marketer, I talk about that a lot, especially when
Right.
it comes to like your Google My Business. If that's where your office is and your
Yes.
location, then you want to target that local area. So that's awesome. About how many crews and team members do you have?
So we have 4 sales guys. We have a project manager. My husband does all the accounts. I do all the marketing. We've got Daryl who's does a lot of the training and quality control. And then we have one main crew that we use frequently. We've worked them hard to make sure that they have the standards that we have, and it works great. And we've got 3 repair guys too.
Okay,
So
that's awesome.
keep pretty busy.
Yeah. So you guys have like a repair first mentality. Can
Yep.
you share a little bit about,
Sure.
why that's so important to you guys?
Sure. So the majority of leaks in a roof are from penetrations in a roof. That's often like a pipe boot or a skylight. So a roof that's under 10, 15 years old can typically be repaired. It doesn't need to be replaced. And coming from the UK, where we have a lot of investment in our recycling, if we replace a roof that's 5 years old, that's a lot of waste going into the landfill and doesn't typically need to be done. Unless it's a huge installation error, you can usually fix some minor problems. So, just tightening up a roof and getting more bang for your buck. Who wants to buy a new roof, people want to buy a new kitchen or a new car. So, really getting that longevity out of your roof, and we're starting to see, since we bought the business, we're starting to see customers come back. So we've done a repair for them, and then they've come back and said, hey, you told me we'd have a couple of years left on our roof. We're ready to buy a new one now. So it's really, really rewarding to see those customers coming back to us.
Yeah, just nurturing those
Yes.
those already existing clients, and then they coming back to you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. If you could rank the aspects of your business in order of importance: marketing, sales, finance, operations, and hiring. And I know that's a lot, but what would you say is the most important? Or
that is a really difficult question. Firstly, my background is marketing, so I'm always going to say that the marketing has to come first, for the leads to come, for the sales to come. However, it really is a team effort. All of those things need to come together. You can't get really great sales in and then not be able to do the production side or collect the checks at the end of the day. So it really needs to come together as a whole, and I'm not sure we can have one more important than the other. If it's almost like the single point of failure if one of them is not working.
Yeah, of course. What has been the most profitable marketing channel for you? Have you seen?
I'm starting to see a huge increase in our brand awareness. So I'm starting to see a lot of the calls that are coming through from people knowing us by brand. So the Google My Business, compared to the SEO of our website. So people are starting to search for us by brand. A lot of that's coming from Facebook. People are, referring us online. I get really excited in the office when I see a Facebook post and, there's 7 or 8 people that are customers shouting us out. Like, that's really, really powerful.
Yeah.
There is certainly something to say about networking and, having that group of core people that are shouting you out. But also when customers start to shout you out, that's really rewarding for me. So
yeah, are you pretty active in the networking groups? Or?
So I'm a member of a BNI group, and I have been for 3 years now. I've focused my time and attention on that. I feel that there's a lot of networking groups to go to, but you really need to focus. So
I think you said you were like president at one point of the
I
BNI,
was
right?
last year, yes. That was certainly a step outside of my comfort zone. I don't really like talking in front of people.
Yeah.
We have 35 members, so I certainly feel that over the course of the year I learned a lot.
It is.
Yeah, so I'm now on the membership team committee,
Okay.
and
Me
that's
too.
really enjoyable too, because you have such an impact on people renewing. You have an input on people coming into your core group, and that group's really, really powerful. So,
Yeah, this was like my first year joining a BNI, so it's like a
Okay.
closed networking group. So I love that aspect of it. So,
Yeah.
But that's really awesome that there is like, those Facebook groups out there that you can be active on, and
Right.
then you get tagged, and, I do feel like, if you can connect with them within the first 5 minutes or less when it comes to like, a lead, the better, you have of
Yes.
the chances, because it can get so saturated, and there is competition out there.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like you have a lot of competitors in your area where you are when
Oh,
it comes to roofing?
there are no barriers to entry when it comes to roofing, which is not a good thing. All you need is a business license and a ladder, and you can call yourself a roofer. So, there's certainly a lot of competition. One of the things that helps us stand out is that we're now Master Elite with GAF and have been since 2009. And that is GAF, the largest manufacturer of shingles, have looked at our business. They make sure that we're licensed and insured. They make sure we have really good reviews. But they also encourage us to do continuous education. So, we're not just the average roofer. We're actually pushing forward, making sure that we're educated on new products. We have our rep come in every quarter just to come in and talk to us about what's going on and educate the team. So
That's awesome. About how do you find the right team members? Because you just mentioned a lot of important things, like,
Right.
How do you train them? And can you touch a little bit about that?
Sure. So from a sales guy's point of view, they would come into the business. They have a 6-week training program, and that is GAF have a pro field guide, so they have to take that test. It is a book of installation, but safety measures, ventilation, everything about a roof that you need to know. So that is step one.
Okay.
Then they go out in the field and they will shadow, other team members, seeing what's happening. We've got a sales manager who will teach them and educate them on the sales process, help them with their mindset, help them with what they're doing in the field, how they can improve. And then we also have a quality control member who provides a lot of education, a lot of, if something unusual is happening on a roof, we're all on the same system, so we can all see the same photos. He will tag everybody in and say, this is what's happening. Or I will question, like, what's going on this roof here? And we share a lot of data like that. We're quite a close knit team, and one of our core values is in continuous improvement. So that continuous education, we have an internal newsletter that we send out, and, so that also helps with bringing people in, different, some of our guys have actually brought in their friends to help to work with us as well. We do a quarterly event, so we'll go out. Last month we did the sandbox with the virtual reality, so that was really fun. So just building that culture outside of the work, of the actual working day.
Yeah.
But we're still looking for salespeople. We're still looking to grow our team and grow our company. We're looking for a production manager. So yeah, we're constantly striving to grow.
Yeah. What are your goals for this year with being 2024, a new year? Do you have like a word for your team, or anything for this quarter that you're looking to achieve?
So personally, I'm trying to bring in 206 leads a month.
Okay.
Which is sometimes difficult when it comes to roofing is weather related. So, in I think November and December, we didn't have hardly any rain. People don't know their roofs are leaking. So one of the goals is firstly to bring in those leads, but also go back to those customers that we've helped in the past and actually not reuse those customers, but help them further and nurture those leads that we've had. So, if we've spent a lot of money on a lead and then we do a repair, which is a similar amount for the cost I've paid for the lead, because we can't charge people more, it's not really fair.
Yeah.
Then we're coming back and actually rehashing those leads, going back, talking to them again. We came out and saw your roof, it needed a repair. It's getting towards that mark of looking to be replaced, and let's talk to them and stop people going back to Google and finding another roofer, because we've already done a good job for them and we know they're good customers too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hopefully they're leaving you those Google reviews
Right.
on there, right?
And I'm hoping my brand awareness is going to overtake my SEO. That is my goal as well.
Do you guys make a lot of video content?
We're starting to do more and more of it. One of the jokes everyone says about me is I'm always branded through and through.
Yeah.
So yeah, everywhere I go, I've got my brand on, and
I love it.
Yeah. I've also had a swimming costume with my brand on. Like it sometimes gets a little silly, but
that's awesome though. I mean, it's working.
Yes.
Brand awareness is huge.
Right.
And we will link your Facebook, and you'll have to tell us how to find you. What do you think has been like, the key lessons you've learned through, you said you're probably 4 years into the business, or longer?
7.
My
Yep.
gosh. That's exciting.
Yep.
What were some of the key lessons that you've learned throughout this process in the roofing industry?
I think some of the key lessons is construction is construction. Like, you have to remember that it's not always going to go perfectly. And that's okay too. It's what you do if it doesn't go right. So, if a customer calls and says there's a lot of nails, we go back out there and we clean up more. We use commercial magnets to actually clean up the nails, but on average, 14,000 nails come off a roof. So being able to pick up every single one of them is very difficult. But what we've learned is to educate the customer. So we tell them that from the beginning. We say, listen, we're going to make a really big noise. And some customers are really shocked about that. We had a call once saying, you're making so much noise. I'm like, well, we can't hammer quietly. The nail guns make a noise. So being upfront about that and, setting expectations from the very, very beginning. We
Yeah.
now have an infographic that we give out when they sign the contract. We've extended our reach for, an email that goes out saying your roof is ready. And on that email, again, it reiterates some of the things that they need to be aware of that are their responsibility, making sure they've moved their vehicle out of a garage, for example, making sure that they've moved furniture away from the house. All these things that previously may have tripped us up, we're now going on the back end and actually setting those expectations. And it's really, really helped. People appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, that is really helpful. I feel like that's like a really big project that you're getting done,
Right.
on your house. So I'm sure it's like a peace of mind and like just makes them feel better that you
Right.
guys have taken an extra step and doing all that you do in the customer service and the whole experience and the journey. That's awesome. What would you say to an owner of a roofing company that like, wants to take it to the next level? What would you say not to do and maybe, some advice there?
I think what not to do, I think, is constantly looking for those new leads. I really believe that there's longevity in the customer base that you build. And, we can add so much more value to our customers. So, yes, we've done a repair on their pipe boot that's leaking, but we don't stop there. We look at the roof as a whole. I don't want to be called back 3 months later because another pipe boot is leaking. So have a look at the roof as a whole and make sure that you're doing the right thing for the customer, but also then the educational piece of, how they can maintain that roof, how they can clean out those gutters, because it's all part of the roofing system and how it all works together. So we are starting to do a newsletter, which is going to go out quarterly, and it will touch on some of those points just so that people are aware. I feel like, you wouldn't buy a car and drive it into the ground and then be like, let's get a new one. And it's the same as a roof. And it's the same with anything that you want to look after. Maintenance is key.
Yeah, I love that example. There's like lack of education as far as like, being a homeowner and what
Right.
steps you need to take. Do you see a common trend like of people's that, they just don't know? Like what is something that comes across like all the time?
So we do have a lot of calls where people say, my roof only leaks when it rains sometimes. And what's actually happening is that wind-driven rain is coming into the roof, it's saturating the wood underneath, and only when that wood is saturated will it drip into your ceiling. So it's actually leaking most of the time, but people aren't aware. So I encourage homeowners to go into their attics with a flashlight, have a look if there's any wood that has some, dark patches on it or looks like it's starting to, not look as solid as it should. And then be more reactive, because once it's dripped through the ceiling, it's been absorbed by the insulation, then into the ceiling. Now you have to get a painter in to paint that ceiling. It's just a lot of work that could be avoided. And yeah.
So how do you know when, so you mentioned that you have people calling you that maybe you did a repair and now they need a new roof. Like what are some things that they would look out for that would be like, this is just, you can't repair this. It's
Sure.
time for a new
Right. So granular loss is a huge thing. The granules are placed on top of the shingles to protect it from the UV light of the sunshine. So when you have a lot of granular loss, and you can see that at the base of your gutters, so the downspouts, you'll see a lot of granules. When we replaced our roof last year, and as I was walking on the deck, I can feel all the grit of the granules on the floor. So that's one thing to look out for. The older a roof gets, the more brittle it is, the harder it is to repair. So you can repair most things, but is it the right thing to be doing? So again, back to the educational piece, showing homeowners what's on their roof, what's happening, and then giving them the right pricing. So yes, you can invest $1,000 repair right now, but actually we offer financing. And if that $1,000 today, by the time you've got a new roof in 3 years' time, what's the difference in cost? So providing customers with the options and the educational piece. And it depends on what the situation is. We have customers call saying they're selling their house, they've been told in a home inspection they have to do this, this, and this, and they don't want to look at anything else on the roof. Or, someone who is selling a house as is, or moving in a couple of years, they may want to get a new roof right now, so the curb appeal of their property is really enhanced. So it just depends on different options, and how people want to spend their money too, because it's an investment.
It is, and
But
it's always good when you offer financing because I'm
yes.
sure like they don't want to spend all their tax money and getting a new
No.
roof. They'd rather go on vacation or something.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Well, so you have a Facebook page, Instagram. Is that where people can follow you?
Yeah,
Is it?
we have TikTok too.
Okay.
We're doing a lot on the YouTube Reels now, and next door we're on. So we're on all the social media and posting regularly. So
Georgia Roof Advisors, is that
that's
what
correct,
it's called?
yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Naomi.
Thank
I
you for
really
having me.
appreciate you and learning more about you. Thank you for everything that you're doing, for homeowners and just the hard work and dedication to your business. And it's awesome and making an impact. So thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.